It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielson and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Wednesday episode of The Oil Stream. It's Nielson, it's Gazzola, and as always, it's brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. 12 locations, 7 of them right in Edmonton, 2 more on the way. Of course, home of the famous Popeye's chicken sandwich and the new nuggets, which we'll get to in just a second. Tommy, what's up, buddy?
Not much. In honor of Egon Spengler, I did my best Egon Spengler hairdo today. So I'm sure Chantal, who cuts my hair over at Exalte, she told me she started watching and she does not like how I do my hair. The way it leaves her salon compared to how I do it on a day-to-day basis and do all my TV hits, this fantastic program as well, does not sit well with her. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not a professional. I don't know how to do it. And the other thing too, you bring up the nugs that we're going to get to. I got an air fryer over the weekend. I'm very excited about this.
Fancy.
I used it yesterday. Yeah. Costco, man. Great deals there. And this is like a new adventure that it's like Christmas 1994 when I got NHL 94. Was it 93? I was that excited. This is how excited I am about this air fryer that I picked up. So
We have
now you're up to speed.
we have an air fryer. My wife wanted one a little while ago. I think we've used it like 4 times. I don't know if she's really figured anything. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't used it once. I usually stay away from that stuff. I barbecue chicken and barbecue burgers and things. Yeah. I have no idea how the air fryer works, but I love the fact that you're so fired up about it, buddy. That's great. That's terrific. Also, with your black shirt and your hair the way it is today, I Googled as this like cartoon character, black shirt, long blonde hair, Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
Johnny Bravo. You got a little Johnny Bravo going today, buddy.
I'll take it. It's
a good look. It's a good look.
I appreciate it. Hey, we're in the dead of summer here, so whatever.
You think?
Okay.
We've got a few things to get to. I might as well just get this nugget review right out of the way. Popeyes. We had Kyle Furby on a couple episodes ago. He's telling us we got these new nuggets coming. Soft launch a couple Mondays ago. Full-blown launch a couple Mondays or 2 Mondays ago. And so last night, I golfed at the Quarry Men's League. And it was awful. Like, it was awful. It had to be my worst round of the year. I was embarrassed. I didn't even stick around. I'm like, I'm out. I got the invite from my buddy, the Hawk. As soon as we're done, he's like, you coming in? I said, nope, I'm done. Wow. Like, I don't want to see a golf course for a week. So I left. On the way home, I'm like, I hadn't had anything to eat since like lunch. I was like, you know what? As a sponsor of the show, I felt responsible to go through Popeyes and try these chicken nuggets. And sure as shit, buddy, they're terrific. Like, they are really good nuggets. Now, the thing is that unlike, the nugs you'll get at Burger King or McDonald's or Wendy's or whatever, that's like a little chicken nugget, batter all tight to it, and it's your typical nugget. Yep. This is not a typical nugget. This is like it looks like small tenders almost with like, like chicken chunks almost with like a lot of batter all over it. It's the most unique nugget I've ever had in my life, buddy. It was, but so good. I mean, the taste was terrific, but just the design of this nugget is next level engineering, buddy. I love it.
I love next level engineering. I'm tempted now. I'm getting hungry during this lunch hour, so I might have to scoot over to the location on 109th Street and maybe get some nugs. I
want you to try it. Because, I mean, it'll be delicious, but I want your thoughts on the design of these nugs, because I think it's next level nugget engineering is what we got here. And I'm really looking forward to your take on it. Somebody tweeted at us, yesterday or the day before. I was like, boys, convince my daughters to come with me for the nuggets at Popeyes, and they were delicious. So if you love the chicken sandwich, you will absolutely adore these beautiful little nuggets. So you got to try them. And then let us know.
As soon as we're done,
Hit us
I'm
up
going.
on Twitter. Yeah, you have to. I want a picture of it. I want sauce all over your face. It's terrific. Okay. All right. And once again, Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen, presenting sponsor here of the Oil Stream. Tommy, let's start with Darnell Nurse. Lots of talk. I think it was Elliot Friedman who said, they were looking at a 4-year deal. Now they're talking maybe, a max term deal. Could be up around $9 million. When you hear that type of number and that type of commitment, to Darnell Nurse and from Darnell Nurse. Tommy, what do you make of it?
Not surprising after what we saw a couple of defensemen sign for last week, and considering where Darnell Nurse is trending. If people had an issue with his contract that he signed 2 years ago, I'm curious to know how they feel about it now, because this would be what, a $3.5–4 million bump up in salary per year for Nurse. And he's been great. Like, he had a great season. That was his arrival, his ascension in the National Hockey League. So I think some will be like, that's ridiculous, but you got to look at the comparables. Dougie Hamilton, one of them, Seth Jones, another one of them. And Darnell Nurse is kind of trending in that direction. You consider PK Subban being one of the highest tickets in the league, and you look at what he actually brings to the table compared to a Darnell Nurse. Again, it's the market dictating what this player will potentially be getting. And Dusty, to Oiler fans that might be up in arms about it or not liking this potential deal, I would point back to the Leon Draisaitl contract that he signed, 4.5 years ago, somewhere around there, where he received 8.5 per year. And people like, that is insane, because his best year at that point, I think, was 77 points. And now it looks like a hell of a bargain, an MVP Art Ross season later, and you're getting Leon at a great rate. I think maybe that's kind of the sell here is, hey, 3-4 years down the road, this is going to be a bargain for an impact elite defenseman in the NHL. So I think it might be okay by then, but the initial shock on the sticker value, certainly there. This is where we're at.
Do you buy into you can't give him more than Leon Draisaitl, 8.5? He can't be the second highest paid player. I mean, the situations are so different. And I know it's not just, well, for the most part, it's the National Hockey League where you'll hear that argument. Oh, well, you can't give anybody in Colorado more than what Nathan MacKinnon makes because he's the best player. To me, those are all thrown out the window when it's 2, 3, 4 years removed. I don't think that comes up. I don't think the Oilers would even try to go there. I know Darnell Nurse wouldn't buy into it. I don't think anybody should think that's even remotely any part of the conversation here.
Yeah, the landscape changes so much in the course of 2-3 years. COVID obviously threw a massive wrench into that, with the flat cap might last a little bit longer than initially expected. That argument doesn't float at all. Not at all. It doesn't work. And, the Nathan MacKinnon situation is a great one to point to. Don't worry. Leon Draisaitl is going to get paid his next contract for sure. So when that time comes, it'll be moot point. We'll probably be saying, does Leon Draisaitl garner anywhere near what Connor McDavid garners in his next deal? It's just a different time frame, different landscape in terms of salary cap era and where we're at. So no, that doesn't float. I understand the principle of it 100%, but it just doesn't float right now.
Yeah, I know some Oilers fans have been like, Nurse doesn't deserve the 9. He's not going to get the 9. But I think if they can get him on a long-term, max-term deal with anything that starts with an 8, that's a good job. Like, that's job well done from Ken Holland, because Jones got it. Werenski got it. Yep. Heiskanen's a little bit different. I think he's got Norris winning potential here, but he got it. Dougie Hamilton as a UFA got it. So to me, like, it doesn't matter your status, whether you're an RFA on your own team, or you traded for somebody who's an RFA, or you're a young stud like Makar Heiskanen, or you're Dougie Hamilton who was a UFA, Tommy. There's like 3 different examples of guys here who got $9 million. The bottom line is, if you're going to be a number 1 defenseman for your team and in a top 20 position, probably in the National Hockey League among defenders, you're getting $9 million. Like, that's just the market's been set.
Yeah, and there might be fans that don't like it, and I'm sure there's going to be media pundits that don't like it. They'll write about it, they'll talk about it, but that's what the market's set at. Like, the GMs, owners, they don't really care what those opinions are. They just care that they get their player locked up, and that that player continues to bring high value to their club. And if that's what the market's at, and they're willing to pay it to keep that member of their team in place, a guy like Nurse, who's a part of the leadership core for the Oilers, then so be it. They'll say, all right, here's the check, make it happen, let it be so. People up in arms about the contract length, AAV, making a stick about it on social media has little to no ramification whatsoever on how a team or a GM or an owner views a certain player for the most part. There are rare circumstances, but in this case, it wouldn't matter.
Tommy, your mic's gotten a little robot-y, so if you want to just reconnect, I'm pretty sure it'll pop back in here and it'll be fine. That's what usually happens on two guys and a goalie with one of the boys as well. So if you're watching the oil stream right now, I'll mention again, subscribe to the podcast, all your podcasting platforms, including Google Podcasts. I have confirmed that it's now available on Google Podcasts. It's brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. Just to continue this nurse conversation for one more second, you've got Seth Jones. And I'm looking at these two guys as some comparables. Seth Jones last year played 25-14. And I know he's going to a different spot, and Chicago have different expectations and may use him a different way, whatever. But he played 25-14 last year. He was minus 18. He had 28 points, 5 goals in 56 games. Darnell Nurse last year played 25-38, was plus 27, had 36 points, had 16 goals in 56 games. Like, if we're going to start throwing numbers around at comparables and say, well, Nurse isn't worth as much as Werenski, Worth's probably, like, Nurse from the last year is probably worth $1 million more than Jones is what they did last year. So I think you're just going to have to suck it up. We've wanted forever, fans in this market have wanted forever for Darnell Nurse to emerge as the number one. You can't bitch about it when he does, and you have to pay him.
Yeah, that's he summed it up.
Like, you just can't. Suck it up.
That's how it goes.
You've got yourself a number one D-man.
Yeah, this is the price it costs you to have a legit number one NHL defenseman. Something this organization has not had really since Chris Pronger, right? I mean, now you have a guy that's kind of peaking out, and he's becoming just that. He's growing into it. He's showing it in his numbers. I mean, the game he played in Game 4, he played 60 minutes. It's insane. And
when he walked off the ice in that game, they should have been standing there with a novelty check. Big one, right by the bench when he walked off the ice and just said, "Sign here. You got 8 more years here, buddy."
And I mean, this is just the price you pay, and I'm sure there's going to be arguments made against him. And at the end of the day, it won't matter. This is the cost of doing business in the National Hockey
XL
League.
Bear is on the comment section right now and says Nurse isn't a legit number one D-man. He's the Oilers' best D-man, and for the longest time. For the longest time,
good argument.
I was always like, I'm not too sure if Darnell Nurse is number one D-man, potential with the way that he sort of developed. I was like, I think he's a good 2 or 3. So he had to convince me this year. And watching him this year, Tommy, he did convince me. Like, I am fully on board with Darnell Nurse as a legit number one D-man in this league.
Take a survey of GMs, coaches, other players around the league, and just ask if they think Darnell Nurse is a number one defenseman in the NHL. I guarantee you the majority would say yes. So, I mean, I understand people's argument, but sorry, he is one. He has emerged as one. Let's see if he can maintain and continue that and earn that paycheck that he supposedly is about to cash in on.
All right, a couple of other places I wanted to go, and we don't have to get to all the things on the lineup today because we've got 2 podcasts a week the entire month of August. We've got lots of things to discuss that will stretch out. Kassian, I believe it's Stoff, a little bit of spec on Oilers Now, a highly competitive show that decided to schedule to compete directly with us, if you can believe it. It's crazy to me, but I think Stoff has been talking a little bit about how Kassian might work his way back into the top 6, and Spec was talking about it a little bit as well. Tommy, do you think he gets a crack there again right at the beginning of the season or early in the season, or does he have to, do what Kassian can do, but do it on the third line for a little bit? Like, how do you think that plays out?
Well, I can kind of see where the rationale is there. I mean, what did Kyler Yamamoto do for the better part of the last half of the season? I know he's a little bit nicked up for a short period of time, but the lack of production certainly opens the door for Zach Kassian to take a spot back in the top 6. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you got healthy competition, that's great. So, yeah, I mean, it'll probably come down to training camp. It'll come down to how they perform in the preseason, who ends up where, and who knows how long it lasts. Dave Tippett is so quick to change things up when they're not working that we could be talking about Zach Kassian being in the top 6 on opening night going into the 13th. And then by, the weekend, the 15th or whatever, we're talking about Kyler Yamamoto trying to redeem himself as a top 6 winger on this Oilers roster. Like, it's such a sliding scale, moving target that I could foresee Zach Kassian working his way back up there. I think he needs to show up every day and play like the Zach Kassian from a year and a half ago, not the one that played after he signed that contract that he got. And then we could see him back in the top 6. And how long that's for, Dusty, up to him, really. But I could also see Kyler Yamamoto letting it up in the preseason, refining that scoring touch, not being snake bit, still going to the right areas, playing the game well, killing penalties, and he could very well just cruise to that spot on the right side in the top 6 as well. Like, it's a good open competition, I would think. So I understand what Bob and Speck are saying. That's just, to me, the vision and the path to get there for a guy like Zach Kassian. But I don't really like the rhetoric saying that Kyler Yamamoto isn't a top 6 forward. He had half a season where he didn't play particularly well and couldn't put up production or any points, and he was snake bit, again, getting those opportunities. Just to write him off like that, Dusty, to me doesn't feel right. So this is a young player continuing to evolve in the National Hockey League. Who's to say he can't regain his form? Is he going to be a point-a-game guy like he was when he came out of the gates gangbusters after that call-up from Bakersfield? Maybe, maybe not. It's going to be tough to repeat that, but why can't he be a top 6 forward? He's so young, and he's still finding himself at the NHL level. Why are we writing him off? I don't like that argument whatsoever.
Yeah, the right side's interesting there because, and this is probably still because I have some, 2 years of Jesse Puljujarvi PTSD in this market and everybody thinking I was an idiot for thinking he could play. But you didn't mention him there. And part of me thinks that if Cassian's going to get another crack in the top 6, part of me thinks it might come at the expense of Puljujarvi, because if they want to leave Yamamoto with Draisaitl, there's no other option here. And Kassian has played more and better with McDavid than he has with Draisaitl. So, as a pro JP guy, I'm a little concerned about that. Like, is he going to be on a third line with McLeod and Foegele? Again, could you move new? We'll get to the whole third line center. We'll do a whole episode on possibly running 3 centers here at some point. But could they try to say, hey, Foegele and JP, 2 energy guys, big bodies. You're going to be our typical third line centers, or third line wingers. We're going to try to get Kassian back up into the top 6. That concerns me a little bit. Mind you, if they're open to playing JP with Draisaitl, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I think those 2 guys could work pretty well together.
But Puljujarvi, I didn't bring him up because he's their best right winger as of right now.
I know, but I don't think that means anything if there's this Kassian discussion.
Okay, now hypothetical, say he does end up on a line with Foegele and Derek Ryan or Ryan McLeod, pardon me. What if they're getting regular minutes 5-on-5? What if they're getting their power play time? Like, what if he is getting slid up there on that post-penalty kill shift with McDavid and Draisaitl? What if it's McDavid, Draisaitl, Puljujarvi after every penalty kill? What if he is still playing 16 to 18 minutes a night? Is there really an issue there? And he's contributing offensively, especially on the power play. If he's getting a look up there, he might not. I don't know. But I look at it. He's still developing as well. But to me, he's their best right winger as of today, August 4th. Things could change, but I foresee Puljujarvi just continuing where he left off, which was, all indicators pointing that this is going to be a legit guy for a while here.
Yeah, you've calmed my nerves a little bit. Like, if we had to say one of those guys is a top 6 winger to start the year, I think Puljujarvi would probably be our answer. But the Kassian discussion makes me wonder a little bit what they might do on that right side. But it's something we can continue to discuss. Here's the thing. In August, we're going to do another episode later in the week. We got 2, our deal with Popeyes. We're still going to bang out 2 episodes all the way through August, September, leading into camp. So if you are watching, you can tweet at us, slide into our DMs. If you have any ideas for like an episode you'd like us to really focus on an aspect of the team, let us know and we can put that together. I think that might be fun somewhere along the way. Cause I mean, we can talk about this nurse thing for 2 months until he gets done, Tommy, and we'll be fine. But if people want to hear certain topics on certain episodes, we've got a little bit of wiggle room to do that right now. So we might as well.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. I'm open to whatever. I mean, training camp's going to be coming quick, about 5 weeks away, and we're going to be back at the rink. So
let's
crazy. Make the most of this time. I know it is, and now it's starting to feel like summer. And we just had the draft and free agency, but at the same time, like, we're not that far away from training camp. So we have this small lull. Hit us up with some topics. I like that idea very much.
Somebody's already said coaching. Playoff specific coaching. So yeah, maybe we'll get into coaching at some point. We'll do a Tippett episode. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of the Oil Stream. If you've been watching on the live stream, subscribe to the podcast so you do not miss an episode. We would appreciate that. Just search Oil Stream on all your podcast platforms. It's brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. For Tom Gazzola, I am Dustin Nielsen. We'll chat with you in a couple of days. See you later, Tommy.
See you, Dusty.